Hey there, this is Alex Kluge, and I'm here from the Toronto Home Experts. And I'm here to dive into the November 21 Toronto real estate market update. Now, this November was a very active month for Toronto real estate, and certainly there were a lot of headlines in the mainstream media. But I'm here to dive into what's really happening in the market and what it means for you, either as a buyer or a seller. Now, what we saw in November, there was a lot of records that were broken. First and foremost, sales volume. We are up roughly 3% from where we were last year. It's not a big deal when you look at that as a whole. And when you look at it from a overall sales volume perspective, it's actually the best November we've ever had on record. So that's number one. That's another record that I want to talk about is actually we already, even though we haven't had December stats to count, we have already surpassed the best year ever in terms of sales volume for Toronto real estate overall. So great news that we're able to see such amazing activity when it comes to Toronto real estate, especially as we're still dealing with the pandemic today. So interesting that we saw such amazing sales volumes, but this doesn't actually tell you the whole picture. Once we look at the next few slides, you'll get an idea to exactly what is actually happening right now. So when you look at active listings, this is actually a pretty telling tale in terms of what we have in terms of overall supply. And shockingly, we are actually down well over 55% from where we were last year. So what does that mean? Like 6,086 seems low, and it is the lowest in terms of active listings that we ever had, dating all the way back to 2002 when we were tracking these stats. So what is this telling me when we have such amazing sales volume, like record sales volume and also record low active listings? It actually means that there's really not enough supply to meet demand. And what happens when we have that is we have rising prices. So we've actually continued to see escalating prices, which I'm going to talk about really shortly. So yeah, well, last month, if you tuned in the video, I said I was warning that there was going to be some issues when it comes to, or concerns when it comes to actually inventory levels. And that is a concern right now, that there's simply not enough inventory to satisfy the demand that we have for current buyers. What's going to change? Is anything going to change? Well, this is an abnormally low month, so typically we don't see this much sales activity in November, December, January. So I expect the inventory levels to continue to be lower, but into next year, Q1, Q2 of 2022, hopefully we'll see a little bit more of a balance, because right now, if you're a buyer, it's really challenging buying in this environment. So new listings actually were down 13%. So active listings were down significantly. New listings were only down a fraction. So what is that saying? That really a lot of the inventory is being absorbed, which again is a stat that we're going to talk to shortly. So typically when we look at new listings, it's kind of a guide in terms of like what's actually happening in terms of um, volume expectation, absorption of those of the housing stock and so forth. So really, what we're seeing now is basically a high percentage of listings that are on the market are selling, and they're selling quickly. So when we talk about average price, anything that I've just talked about is going to say that we've got record sales volume, uh, and record low inventory levels, we're going to see a huge price increase. And yes, that's exactly what we saw, almost 22% average price increase from where we were last year in November, which is truly remarkable. Will I expect this to continue? I don't. But actually, if you want to find out what I really think is going to happen in 2022, we're actually going to film an exciting new video next month with my predictions for Toronto real estate next year. So, but just a little snippet in terms of what you think, or what I think is we're not going to see this type of appreciation moving forward. It's simply not sustainable long term. And so really, I think this is a little projection of mine, and I think really we're going to see condos dominate more of that sales volume moving forward. And I think 2022 is going to be the year of the condo, in my opinion. And really, since the pandemic started, condos have lagged really where freehold properties have gone. So I can see that changing, and I'm starting to see that change already. So, but we're going to see that really in earnest starting in next year. So the home price index, as you know, is one of my favorite stats to look at. It really gives you more accurate reflection in terms of what's happening in terms of price increases. So, like, as you know, average prices takes a basket of properties and compares it to the other basket that sold in the previous month or year or whatever you're comparing against. Whereas house price index is actually a more complex metric in terms of overall comparing what has sold within a specific time frame and comparing it to that same timer. So actually, the Toronto Real Estate Board put this out, and I think this is the stat that I track more closely because it gives me a better reflection in terms of what's actually happening in the marketplace. So again, like, we're seeing some pretty shocking numbers here. Like, if you look at Durham region up 40%, Halton region 33%, York 32. Like, these are some absolutely wild numbers. And never in a million years would I have predicted that, entering the pandemic last March. But here we are. Like, really what we've been reading about is, people are really, now with this whole work from home movement that's been certainly prevalent over the last 20 months is continuing. And so do I expect this to continue moving forward? It's gonna balance out in the end. I do feel like, we're seeing now condos dominate more percentage of sales. So what we're going to see then is, perhaps less movement out to the 905 region, which has really seen some significant price appreciation, as you can see here. So, interesting by asset class. Like, I always like to see what's happening when we're comparing, condos to towns to semis and detached. And here you can see on the screen, like, condos certainly have lagged a lot of the appreciations that we've seen relative to detached semi and towns. But I think next year we're actually going to see the inverse. We're going to see condos lead the way, and that I think is going to help a lot of buyers who are trying to get into the market. Really are going to fuel the next sort of year or so in that a lot of the condos, which typically is more so dominated by entry level or first time home purchases. We're going to see that number inverse, I think, next year. So days on market, unsurprisingly, with these unbelievable sales volume and lack of inventory, days on market's down. This is the average for Toronto real estate as a whole, down to 13 days, which is truly remarkable from comparing it even to other great real estate markets we've had in the 2010 to 2020s. We've never seen a number this low for the month of November. Months of inventory, unsurprising if you follow what I was saying in terms of the lack of inventory. We're now seeing really less than 1 month of inventory in the market. We've never had anything even remotely close to that in the month of November. And now that we're down less than a month is truly remarkable. So I don't expect this to continue, by the way. I do think we're going to see a little bit more of a normalization, like, probably closer to the 1.5, 1.6 range like we saw last year to start happening, maybe not in December, but, as we move into February, March next year. So hope you like this video. I like summarizing what's happening in the marketplace just to give you a pulse of what's truly you need to know if you're either buying or selling. Feel free to hit us up on all our socials. We love the engagement that we're getting on our Instagram channel. It's been great. Please continue to follow us, like and subscribe. And as always, if you want a consultation to understand what these numbers mean for you, whether you're buying in this market or selling this market, feel free to hit us up and connect with us. And we look forward to hearing from you. Again, thanks again. Happy holidays, everyone. And we will see you in the new year. Thank you.